Hey everybody, welcome back to the Brenda Yvonne channel. Of course, I'm your girl, Brenda Yvonne. Here on my channel, we do fun reviews, recaps, and discussions of all of our favorite shows. Y'all, this video, we are talking about Married at First Sight, down to the Denver, Colorado. It's season 17, episode 18, titled In Sickness and Suspicion. Before we get into it, please hit that thumbs up button, y'all. Please do not forget to subscribe to this channel. Support a Black YouTube channel, y'all. This is a growing channel. It's Black History Month. Make it happen. Please, y'all. Appreciate it. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all thought of this. Another boring episode. It gave a little bit, just a tad. We got Austin finally fully exposed. That's the only reason I'm on this video, because y'all was about to get a short. Okay. And share the video where y'all like to share y'all content and turn on your post bell notifications. That's my alarm letting me know it's 9 o'clock. Okay, and it is past my bedtime. Okay, anyway, we're gonna make this real quick. We ain't gonna go in no particular order. Real quick church announcements. They did release the next 3 episodes for Love is Blind. Episodes was the 7, 8, 9. So I'm thinking we'll do a live tomorrow, 7 p.m., 7:30 at the latest. I'm shooting for 7 though, y'all. I watched 7 and half of 8. I'm almost done with 8, and I gotta finish up 9. And I need to get Married at First Sight out the way. So we're gonna do those tomorrow at 7. So look out for that. I'm gonna create the link tonight. But yeah, let's get into it. Let me, make this quick because I got groceries on the way. My dinner is here. We got to make it happen, y'all. Let me know though in the comments what y'all thought of this episode. So let's get into it. Okay, like I said, Austin got exposed. Brennan gonna be back to normal next week, as we saw in the preview. So let's get into it. So we are not gonna go in any particular order. We see all the couples made it back from the couples retreat. Okay. Becca said that her and Austin was going through it after they went to the wolf place. I forgot to talk about, I think on the last review, that they went to some wolf place because that was his way of making it up to her for the weekend and them not getting intimate. I don't know what going to the wolf place was supposed to do, but if that's Austin's version of an apology, I'll take it. So Becca said when the cameras were not rolling, Austin was giving her a hard time. I guess he was trying to put some stuff in the bag, and he mumbled some stuff under his breath, like she's always like telling him what to do or something, he said. And she said he always mumbling stuff under his breath, and he was being really mean to her and pushed her away and all this stuff. So he acts one way off camera, another way on camera, like we figured, right? And we gonna get into that more. So anyway, so she's back in her apartment, okay, because they're going through it. I'm assuming he's back in his apartment or he in the shared apartment. We don't know. Emily and Brennan, Emily's on her road to recovery, and Brennan is still there by her side. She even living in the shared apartment with her again, y'all. Okay. But like I said, Brennan gonna only keep this up for so long. And then Chloe and Michael are back at their apartment. And so Michael's discussing, he gotta get the pet situation, he gotta take a nap, he gotta get his work stuff. Chloe says she got to go see her pets. He's like, you going to go visit them with your cousin, or what you going to do? And so then she was like, actually, I was thinking, it's just been so much. And, I just need to take a refresh. So I was thinking I would, just take a day or two, a night in my apartment with my animals and then just come back. And so then he was like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. But you could tell he was a little disappointed and sad. And so he did say this confessional, like, he's okay with her needing a refresher, but he did think like, did she not want to be around him? Like, what's really going on? So Chloe says she need a break from the diamonds and pearls and the skirts. That's what she said, right? So, anyway, Chloe did come back though eventually. Speaking of Chloe, we saw her meet up with her friend. I don't remember his name, and it's irrelevant. And he's asking how everything's going. She says they were taking a little break after the honeymoon. The retreat. The retreat was a lot for her. She's going through it, but she said the retreat did make her miss him and really appreciate him. She said, everything, she was going through and crying her eyes out. He was really there for her. And she's like, he always knows what to say. And so the friend is like, yeah, he got away with words, but like, it's his actions meeting up the words, because Michael got that good mouthpiece. He know how to put his words together right, which he does. He speaks very eloquently. But the friend was like, but is he saying it? Like, is he walking it like he talk it? Or is he just, all words? And so Chloe is like, only time could tell, but she thinks that, he will back up what he's saying. And she appreciates how he was there for her basically when she was just like, being dramatic about the process. I don't know if the friends see it for Michael or not, but I really don't care about that friend thing, to be honest with y'all. I really don't care. Anywho, um, then at one point we seen Brennan was getting Emily some burgers or something because she needed to recover and she's going back to bed. Then he took her to get her stitches out, and I think they said she had 35 stitches and she still has to get surgery. That's a lot. But she's healing well, she said. And he was cleaning and she was like, "Oh, I'm glad you're here. You really been here for me." And he was like, "Oh, I know you would do the same for me." And then she said something about like, you're doing it because you want to do it. And he's like, "Yeah, of course." No, girl, he doing it because he guilty. But he was cleaning. She's like, "Can you get under the table?" I was like, "Oh, Emily, you better milk this for as long as you can, girl, because it ain't gonna last long." Now, anyway, let's get back to Emily and I'm sorry, Becca and what's the boy name? Austin. So Becca and Austin are waiting for the experts because they are going through it. And Becca laying on the sofa, she's like, "I just need to lay here a minute, like I'm tired." So he was like, "Oh, do you want to talk about anything before they come?" She's like, "No, I just want to wait for the experts to get here. I won't talk." So then he's like, "Okay, can I snuggle up behind you?" She whispered, "I just want to lay by myself." I was like, "Girl, tell him, no, you cannot lay up behind me because you're not about to rub and touch on nothing. So no, you can't lay up behind me, sir. No, not today." So anyway, the experts came. Now these two behind me, this is why I put their picture up. Because these two so-called experts, Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal, came to talk to Becca and Emily. I said, "Oh, they needed the tag team this one because they knew this was not good." And the thing I like about the experts is that they be fighting for love. Don't nobody else be fighting as hard as Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper. I don't feel like Dr. P will be fighting that hard, but Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper be trying to reverse engineer stuff to make it work, and it's not going to work. Like, I need them to stop. Pastor Count, Dr. Pepper, I need y'all just to admit that y'all messed up this season. Just admit it. It's okay. So, anywho, they go in and they ask what's up. And so, Becca is basically complaining about Austin, how, when they were coming back from the retreat and how he got into it with her at the store. And so Austin was like, "Oh, that's not how that happened." He said, "I was buying some trinkets and stuff from the gift shop and I was trying to put it in a bag. And the lady was giving me a bag and Becca was trying to get me to put it in another bag, but it's going to be too big because I didn't want the stuff to get lost in the bag. And I just felt like she was trying to control me and micromanage me." Now, I will say that it does feel like Becca does try to control, micromanage Austin a little bit, and I think that's a turn off for him. He said he don't like. Well, Becca said in her version of the story that he said he don't like being told what to do. Austin explained in this version of the story. To me, the stories didn't sound the same. It's just their experiences of it, of course, are two different experiences, right? So she was trying to help and he felt like she was being controlling basically. So Becca was like, the intimacy stuff, like, "I'm tired of trying to like, flirt with him and kiss him and touch him. And I just get made fun of. I get pushed away and all this stuff. And I'm just tired of it. Like, I don't want to do it." And she's like, "The retreat was not fun for me. Like, we didn't get intimate. We didn't do any of the things that Dr. P said for us to do. He wanted to sleep in, a favorite football player's bed instead of sleeping in bed with me." It's like, girl. So Dr. Pepper and Pastor Kyle was looking like, what? So Austin was like, "Yeah, it was a famous football player. It was his house. And I wanted to sleep in his bed." And even Dr. Pepper was choking on her drink. She was like, come on, like, that sounds silly. Like, Dr. Pepper was even like, "Girl, we tied." So then Pastor Kyle was like, was Austin drinking? Was it drinking involved? And Becca was like, "That's no excuse," which is not. And so he's like, "No, it's not an excuse," but he said that plays a part in it because that's not him being himself. And he was like, "Now, Austin, that wasn't a good idea." And he was like, "Maybe we need to explore, like, why are you drinking to avoid dealing with these issues? Definitely need to explore all of that. Okay, you definitely need to explore all that." So Dr. Pepper said, "I understand you're feeling, Becca. Like, no woman wants to feel like they're not being desired. Like, that is not pleasurable." Hold on, y'all. People about to deliver the groceries, so we gotta hurry up. Okay, I'm gonna have to step away. So anyway, um, then, she said, maybe taking a step back is a good idea. And Becca says she's just tired. She's exhausted. She said, he says one thing on camera, but then off camera, he's not trying to work on the intimacy. He's not saying all these things. And she's just tired of it. She's like, I'm feeling like, am I being crazy or something? Because he's acting one way on camera, and another way off camera. And he's not saying all the same stuff. So she's like, am I tripping? And I was like, girl, you not. He's basically being Brennon. He's basically being covering up his ways of acting like Brennon at this point. So everybody playing this season. So Dr. Pepper was like, okay, it's a good idea to take a step back. And Pastor Cal's like, Becca, do you want this marriage? Do you want this relationship? I was like, no, she don't want it, Pastor Cal. And he was like, don't let, a small section of what just happened in the last 6 days or something ruin the totality of the marriage. Like, if everything's been good so far, like, don't let this little bit of time ruin it. Like, let's start over. Let's regroup and refresh. And I was like, no, we don't need to do all that. Excuse me. So anyway, so Austin gave some tide, like, I'm gonna do this, and then he was trying to say, but he says, like, oh, we're doing the intimacy, like, it feels like it becomes a whole thing when there's pressure on me to do it. And now I just feel like I'm doing it because the cameras are on. And then he's like, but, and then he's like, no, but just say you're gonna do it. Because they trying to make something work. It's not gonna work. So he gave some tide promise like he always does. And then later on, and we're gonna wrap them right on up. Later on, we do see them go to some kind of spa or something, and they're sitting in a hot tub. And did she have her socks on in that hot tub, y'all? I don't know what was happening in Denver that day. Anyway, and so he was like, how did you feel like the talk went? And she was like, oh, I feel it went well, but I'm trying to figure out, like, do some self-reflection. Like, is it just me, over analyzing and overthinking things, or is it just me, like, not taking account, like, you are trying to do stuff and I'm just, so critical. So I'm not seeing when you're actually trying. And I'm like, no, girl, this man didn't gaslit you. No, you not tripping, Becca. It's him. But anyway, she didn't reverse engineered it to, like, now think maybe some of it is her fault. I think she is a bit controlling though. Now that I do see that. And so, she's I'm gonna try to, recognize more when you are putting the effort in. Girl, he ain't putting no effort in. And next week we see Austin moved out the shared apartment and he going on double dates with Cameron. So he playing. Anyway, enough of them. Now, let's go to Emily and Brennon. No, speaking of Claire, let's go to Claire. Let me go back to Claire. Claire is talking with her mom. And she's saying, like, she really want to be there for Cameron in his time of need. However, he's kind of isolating, and her mom could relate because her mom suffered from cancer. She said, when I was going through my cancer thing, I isolated too. That's sometimes people do that. And Claire said, I really, really like him and I really love him as a person, but maybe us, as husband and wife is not the best title to put on us. Like, maybe it's more of a friendship, but she says she does really care about him, love him. And the mom said that she really liked him and had high hopes at the wedding. Claire, girl, stop. Please stop, girl. Just stop. We know you didn't like that man. Now, over across town, Cameron is out the hospital, y'all. So prayer works. Thank you, Jesus. Cameron is out of the hospital, okay? And he was meeting up with Brennon at the bar, at a coffee shop, wherever they was at. Now, he let us know what he had. It was it's a version of AFib, but it was a heart flutter, basically. And so I was trying to see if they dropped off the groceries, y'all. Hold on. Okay. So he lets him know that he has it's basically a heart flutter. And he was struggling to talk right there. He said he can't ride his bike for the rest of this year. It's like gonna be a while before he can ride his bike. He does feel like the stress of the situation could have added to this. He feels like it was like a sandcastle he's trying to put back together, but he couldn't put back together. And he's like, Claire has all this time to talk to you guys about what's going on in the relationship, and she feels like she's growing and reflecting, and is she going to come talk to me and ask me if I'm growing and reflecting? And he's like, I'm just trying to get better. Like, he ain't had time to think about all that, but she's over here thinking she's making all these strides. I can just imagine what Claire's trying to call him and say. So anyway, and he's like, I don't feel like we're on the same page in that way. But he did say, like, he doesn't understand, like, sometimes Claire would get emotional. Like, when he said he's leaving the apartment, she would get emotional, but he was like, I don't know if she's getting emotional because she has feelings for me or just because the situation is sad. It's because the situation's sad and she gonna act like she cared Cameron. That's what it was. So he said, decision day is going to be a big day. It's going to be hard for her, and I'm not going to leave her hanging at decision day. I'm going to be right there by her side. I'll say, good for you, Cameron. Good for you. Okay. I mean, really, do y'all need to have a decision day if you already said y'all getting a divorce? I don't know what they got going on. Anyway, moving on. Emily and Brennan will wrap up the episode with Chloe and Michael. So Emily and Brennan, they were talking about, him being there for her and all that. So then they meet with the experts. The final scene of the whole episode is when they met with the experts, and they were like, oh my gosh. Now it was Dr. Pia, Dr. Pepper, and Pastor Cal, I believe, were all on the Zoom. And they were like, oh my God, we can't believe you went through that. Like, when we see the pictures, it was like, oh my goodness. And you just had such a good spirit about it. Dr. P is like, the fact that you were still participating and doing all that after, like, girl, that is amazing. And yeah, Emily did handle it very, very well. And so they also asked Brennan, how did he feel? Because he had to, like, jump into action, and despite everything he had been going through or feeling, and Emily said he was the only one really taking action, and she appreciated him for that. And Brennan said, he's been there for her the way that she was there for him. Now, at first I was like, when was you there for her? But I think he meant like in this situation. So they were just, the experts are giving them kudos and saying how, like, this, helped them to get on a better page, and that they're doing really good now and all this stuff. And it brought them closer together. And Brennan was saying how, they decided to be friends, but there had to be action involved, and there was no action. But now, this situation happened and all this stuff. I'm like, Brennan, you only doing this because you would look like an a-hole if you didn't. And next week you talking about she being negative and she storming out. So I told y'all it ain't gonna last. And it's not. Anyway, and the experts think that Emily and Brennan doing the best right now. That's a sad day in hell. Anyway, let's wrap this episode up before I gotta go get these groceries from the front door, y'all. So Michael and Chloe, they having a housewarming party where they invite the friends over because, we are a few weeks behind with them. I need them to catch them up. We're not extending the season for them. I didn't say it every review. So they having a 90s party. Inviting his friends and her friends. They're gonna be friends. They got all their pets over there. Finally, the pets got along well, so that's a good sign. It wasn't like a Justin and Alexis in San Diego situation, child. So anyway, they having a 90s party. Chloe came back to the house. I hope that, like, she really is back to the house and not playing on camera for us. So they had on their chains and their bandanas. It's a 90s party. I was like, oh Lord, but Michael looked good, his chain and bandana. I said, look at Michael. And so Michael went to get some pizza that was like for a cause or something. Like, they supported different foundations like domestic violence and something else. And so she was like, oh, wow, thank you for fighting it. I didn't even know they had stuff like that. Like, that's amazing. And so she was like, you're such a sweet man. He's like, no, you see, I got my chains on, my bandana on. Like, I ain't sweet. He's like, can you call me sweet? And then she's like, okay, I'm very sorry. Like, you're a very great man. And he's like, you can't be saying that. You're going to put my head up, girl. And she's like, yeah, let me stop. And then he was giving her some gin or some tequila or something. She's like, oh, how I give it to tequila? He's like, why you think I got it? Okay. So then the friends came over. They had on these rainbow jackets. I didn't know what was going on with that, but I was like, that's 90s. I guess. So anyway, like, people wasn't committing hard enough to the 90s, in my opinion. Like, they was trying, but they wasn't really giving what needed to be gave. So anyway, the friends are asking how's everything been. Chloe's like, it's been a lot, and me and Michael took a reset, but I came back to the house, and we're good now. We just needed to really refresh. And Michael, he tied it up all in a bow with his words. I'm like, yeah, we just needed that break. And I just feel like Chloe has came back in good spirits and all that. And she did come back in good spirits, or she playing on camera like Austin and Brennan. So the friend, I think it was Paige wasn't buying it. It was either her friend or Paige was not buying it. Now, she said that his friends and her friends met at the wedding, and they became friends, and they was hanging out outside the wedding, but one of the friends didn't, go, so she didn't know. So anyway, Paige said she wasn't buying it. Okay. So yeah, it was Paige, because it was him, the other friend too of his. So you know how like Chloe goes outside to talk to Paige and one of his other friends, and Michael goes to talk to her friends. And so they said, you know, Michael's a very good communicator, and they were asking Chloe, and Chloe said she struggled with that. You know, she's been on her own, she's been Miss Independent, you know, she's had to take care of herself. So she hasn't really expressed herself and been vulnerable in a long time. So she hasn't had that opportunity. And she said so it's been a lot for her. She's been trying and like, you know, pushing herself to the limit, but then it, you know, sometimes it gets to be too much. But she is trying to work on it. And so they were like, yeah, you know, when it comes to communicating with Michael, like, don't like try to wait because you're worried because he just came home from work or he had a long day. Like, go ahead and tell him what's going on. If something's going on, like, go ahead and say it. Oh, I thought my groceries was here. Anyway, so they were like, yeah, because he's going to sense when something is wrong. So, like, you need to go ahead and communicate it to him. And so they were also saying, and there's mainly Paige saying, like, he could be a bit of a people pleaser and he'll try to, like, he likes to just de escalate stuff quickly. Instead of saying, like, hey, now my stuff is there. Hey, it's really bothering me, and really going into that. And he may not, like, fully express that. And he's not going to let you see, like, he's only going to let you see what he wants you to see, basically. And so she's like, oh, okay, like, I didn't know that about him because I'm a people pleaser too. And so she was like, okay, that's good to know. And they were like, yeah, don't let him get away with shit. Like, don't let him, you know, try to, you know, BS you in that way. Like, make him say, like, if something's bothering him, make him say it, right? So anyway, then Michael was talking to Chloe's friends, and they were actually, y'all don't really remember that conversation. I ain't gonna even fake it. They talked about whatever Chloe's issues are and how she was struggling with the process, and Michael being there to support her and all that. Okay. Then they went, Michael took her to the boxing gym where he goes to show her some moves. And he was showing her that, you know, when you do them jabs, you got to turn them hips. I be doing my kickboxing. I know all about that, Michael. Yes. I would love to go to the gym. So anyway, so Chloe was like, wow, like, this is amazing. You do that. And, you know, he had his trainer there and everything. So then she brought up what she spoke with his friends about at the party, and she said, you know, I didn't know that about you. They said you would deny it. He said he wasn't going to fully deny it. And she was like, you know, let me know what you need. Like, if I'm being too much and you need to tell me, like, hey girl, chill out, or you were like, let me know what ways I can support you. And then he was like, yeah, you know, I can do that. And he said sometimes he's already in it, he doesn't realize he's being a people pleaser. So, you know, he said he's going to work on it and make sure he's communicating. She's going to try to communicate. And so they don't want to get, basically their thing is they don't want to get caught up in trying to like be so nice to each other that they're not like being real and developing a loving relationship and be people pleasing each other to death. Y'all just got to say what it is, okay? And don't be afraid to hurt feelings. That's what y'all need to do. Anyway, y'all, that's where we're going to end this review. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Join me tomorrow evening, 7 o'clock Pacific time for the Love is Blind live review recap, y'all. I want to see y'all in the chat. Like I said, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Oh, we got to talk about Bold and Bougie tomorrow. Okay, Bold and Bougie might come Friday, y'all, because I forgot about Bold and Bougie. Anyway, yeah, that might come Friday, or it might be a short. We'll see. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.